Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Ooh. Cubs win, fly the W, a series win in Milwaukee, 2-1. The Cubs get the win off of Josh Hader. How about that? They've won 9 of 14. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, and hopefully joining us later, Ryan Herrera from Milwaukee, where we always call it either Miller Park or
Wrigley North.
Wrigley North, one of the two. Take your pick. 4 straight series wins for the Cubs. And Cody, go ahead. They reeled you back in. Give us the stat. The stat we've all... Mr. Analytics, give us the number we're all looking for.
According to Fangraphs, the Cubs now have a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. So you're saying there's a chance, baby. Yeah. You're saying there's a chance. Don't let me talk myself back into it. Don't let me, Luke. Don't let me do it.
What was it? What was it like a week ago? 0.000001.
It had to be not great, Bob.
9 out of 14, and against some pretty good teams. It has been fun to watch. Again, I don't want to be the buzzkill, but that's a very small chance that they're going to the postseason. Yeah. Well, and they will still be trading, not buy, like I just saw on Twitter. But
shout out to Jake.
Yeah, shout out to Jake. But it has been fun to watch.
Yeah, man.
Especially against the Brewers.
Exactly. I mean, they did against the Cardinals.
Yep.
They should have swept the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I was just telling you, they should have swept the Brewers. The Cubs dominated this series. They dominated yesterday. They should have won in game 1, but Robertson had his worst appearance as a Cub. Just ironically had to have it then. But he bounces back today and gets the save today. Again, we know what's coming at the end of the month. But, the Cubs are playing well right now. So just, again, I've said it the last few shows. Savor the flavor, guys. When the Cubs are winning, whether you want print the shirts. Whether you want them to sell or whatever, or whoever you want them to trade, right now, this team is showing that, hey, perhaps they're not that far away. And they got contributions out of guys today that aren't going to be traded outside of the bullpen. PJ Higgins?
Yeah.
Well, Rafael Ortega. Okay, my bad. But
maybe not.
I don't know. Again, it's just nice. It's nice to see this team win. I wish this team had played like this for most of the season, and then maybe we wouldn't be talking about trading all these guys. But either way, it's fun to talk about a winner, especially when they beat Milwaukee. And this Milwaukee team, they're doing exactly what I said. I was wrong about 87 wins, Luke, but I'm not wrong about Milwaukee. They might still win this division because the Cardinals aren't that great either. But that team is being carried by their pitching, and that's it. Christian Yelich is not good anymore. Rafael Ortega is having a better season than Christian Yelich. That's not even trolling. That's a fact. It's a straight up fact. Okay? And after that, sure, Tellez, he has power, and they have guys across the lineup that you've never heard of that'll get big hits every now and then, but they have no consistency in that lineup. They just don't. They might win the division. They're going to make the playoffs, especially with the expanded playoffs. But that team, unless they get a few guys on offense that get hot in October, that team is not winning the World Series. I'm sorry. No. They're doing exactly what I said they would. They will be carried by their pitching staff, and we've already seen injuries kind of derail them. They struggled a little bit in June. They had a pretty lengthy losing streak. And a large part of their struggles is the fact that their offense just is not good. Straight up, it isn't. So if you want to take any solace in the season, just knowing that Milwaukee, while having 2-3 of the best pitchers in the National League at the very least, and they're still, perhaps just a playoff team and that's it. At least know that, hey, when the Cubs were ready to win, they did. And the Brewers, they don't have any World Series. And they don't look like a team that's going to win one this year either. So it feels good to say. And it feels good to beat Josh Hader. Man, that guy's been dominating. He upped his velocity this year. Dude was throwing 94, 95 for most of his career. Somehow this year he's pumping 97 on a consistent basis. I don't know what he's taking. I'm not saying he's taking anything, but whatever they did to him, he freaking did. He's just even better. He's having one of the best years of his career. And to see the Cubs actually beat him twice in this series, they should have swept this series. To see them score off him twice in this series, it makes me smile in a big way. I don't care if the Cubs are bad. I don't. But like just the little things they did this series to win it is just gives me some hope and some optimism about the future.
I agree 100%, and we said it before the season. Pretenders, not contenders. Like the Brewers will probably get into the postseason by default, and that's why we wanted the Cubs to add a couple more players because none of the teams in the division are real World Series contenders. Let's face it. Like it's a winnable division.
Right.
Not this year for the Cubs, it's not, but it could have been. Mm-hmm. You know, and I saw Marcus saying on the chat, thanks for joining in, by the way, everybody, saying, everybody was dogging David Ross. He believes they're playing for David Ross. I think a lot of these guys are playing for their careers. They're playing for themselves too, not just their manager or their teammates. They're playing for major league careers. Morel playing for his career. Ortega playing for a career. PJ Higgins playing like the three-star Sampson. The four guys, the stars of this game, are all guys trying to make major league careers.
Yeah.
Like real major league careers.
Right. And, Adrian Sampson, the fact that I haven't really mentioned him yet, or we haven't really mentioned him yet, is kind of
No, he deserves time.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. He deserves a lot of credit just this entire season with the Cubs and the chances he's been given. Because I said it after the Cubs came back to beat the Red Sox last Friday. Yes, he got beat up a little bit in those early innings, but you know what he did? He ate you innings. He gave you a quality start in the year of our Lord 2022, which is 5 innings. Today, he did it again, almost gave him 6.
Yeah.
And he made one mistake to Keston Hiura.
And the pitch before, to be fair to the umpire, was definitely a ball.
Yeah. It was borderline.
It was very close, but it was a ball.
The way that
if it would have been the other way around and he hit the home run the next pitch, I would have been angry.
Yeah.
But because it was slightly outside of the zone, you feel better about it. But again, 5 2/3, that 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 4 hits. You can't ask more of a depth guy than that. Like
right.
That's good. He's been really good since they brought him up, and I don't know what the future holds for him. He's 30 years old.
Gonna be 31 in October.
Yeah, he's making $500,000.
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like a guy that's a nice piece to, give him a little raise, bump, and bring him back and give him the same role next year. Or if he proves he can be more, then you give him a little bit more. See what he does the rest of the season and judge it then. I don't think he's a guy that you move, but just like everybody else, it all depends on what the potential return is and what the interest is from other teams.
Right.
Like if you got something for him, you would probably take it. But it was just nice to see those guys because as we were watching Corbin Burns own the Cubs, one guy after another, and you were like, they're going to waste this outing by Sampson because it really was impressive the way he was shutting. I mean, he had a no-hitter going for a little while.
Right.
It was impressive what he was doing, and I'm so glad they didn't totally waste it. A good effort from a guy that, deserves to have something nice attached to his start,
Yeah.
And then the guys that came in, Morel was close to a home run. Oh, man, I thought that was a home run.
Yeah, especially off Hader. Saw Corey's comment. He was rooting for us so bad. I think we all were. Hey, what? Let me start by saying with Christopher Morel, and this, you could have made this bet on PointsBet today. They had him listed at plus 120 to get a hit today. And if you don't open up sportsbooks and look at, just at the value or the odds for just whatever players to get a hit, just to get a hit, like there's no value in it ever. No value in it. It's always like you have to make any kind of money, you got to put $200-$300 down. To see that Morel was at plus money today, meaning you put $5 down, you make like $7. Like that's like disrespectful. And the fact that the at-bats he had today, he got a hit and he almost had a home run too.
Real close.
And he's continuing to have great at bats. And the whole point of why I bring the odds up of what PointsBet had him at today, it's kind of like it didn't make any sense on why it was like that. And he had good at bats. His first at bat against Burns, I believe he walked, right? And then later in the game, he had the triple, nearly a home run, and then he almost had the homer off Hader. And even though it was an out, I mean, dead center off the best closer in baseball. I mean, he's so good that just when guys make contact off him, it's impressive. That's how good Josh Hader is. And so I take that deep fly out as something like important. And so
it was a good at bat.
Yeah.
It was a good swing. I mean, you're not complaining about when you hit it all the way to the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Corbin Burns was really good. There are frauds that as an organization, they are hashtag frauds, pretenders, not contenders, but they do have some good individual players. He's obviously one of them. 26 whiffs. They said it in the broadcast, right? Most since August 11th, 2021 against the Cubs, since Burns had 30 against the Cubs. Yeah. That's why it just seems so unlikely that they were coming back. We had the anger podcast all ready to go.
Yeah.
We had the anger mopey, we don't want to be here podcast ready to go. We wanted the chat was going to start saying Ross did this.
Yeah.
Why is this? Instead, we can talk about how VR wasn't there, Hayward wasn't playing, and the Cubs have won 4 straight series.
Right. Hey.
Maybe no coincidence, by the way.
Right.
I'm just saying, maybe no coincidence.
I mean, yeah, I could sit here and complain some more about how they should have swept the Red Sox, and again, how they should have swept the Brewers because they should have won game 1 of this series. And because of not getting enough timely hitting and maybe a few moves here and there related to the bullpen, perhaps maybe we could have sat here and complained about David Ross. But today, I mean, it was just Corbin Burns came out and shoved. And then, like I said at the beginning of the show, the Brewers, they just do not have any kind of consistent offense. That team is relying on Christian Yelich to get back to even half the form that he was in 2018, 2019, and he just isn't. He was almost an 8-WAR player in 2018.
Which is incredible.
Right. They're not even going to get half of that. Not even half of that. He's last I checked, he was like a 1.3 or 1.4 WAR right now, and this is Fangraphs, Corey, so you don't have to yell at me. But he's not even giving them the offensive production for them to even want to put him in the middle of the lineup. They're batting him leadoff. Now, he still gets on base a ton, so it's not like he's, completely worthless or anything like that. But again, 2018, 2019, this guy was hitting over 30 bombs. He's nowhere, he's not even on pace for that this year. He just doesn't have that anymore. And I'd like to give Yu Darvish a lot of credit to that.
Corey says, curse of Yu Darvish lives forever.
You hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. So, now, if Christian Yelich finds a way and gets red hot in the second half of the season, then I'm going to look like a moron. But this has been 2.5 years of this. He is not the same player. Is he a bad player? No, but he is not the MVP all-star caliber player anymore. He just isn't. So, because their team is built around him to be good, they're going to have a lot of inconsistencies on offense. Again, they will have games where that offense explodes, but they also have games like this where they go up against a guy like Adrian Sampson and can't get anything. And nothing against Adrian Sampson. Like you said, though, he's a good depth guy. He's someone who can go out there and eat some innings for you. But it's not like the Cubs threw out the next coming of a Corbin Burns or anything out there. This Brewers team, their offense just, again, if I'm a Brewers fan, I'm worried about this team, not necessarily in the regular season, but in the postseason, because they just do not get the offense. And we've seen from recent World Series winners, offense is, at the end of the day, is what has really put those teams over the top to win. They really are. You need the pitching to get there, but if you don't have any kind of consistent offense, it's going to be tough. And that the Brewers offense these days kind of reminds me a lot of the 2018, 2019 Cubs, where it's home run or bust. You're not getting guys on base. You're not doing the little things to manufacture runs when you absolutely need to. I mean, the Brewers, they had Givens on the ropes. They had a guy on third with 1 out in the 8th inning. And Willie Adames pops one up to Rivas.
Yeah, he was angry. He was angry.
So it's little things like that I see a lot from the Brewers over a long span of time now, where it's like they are so home run or bust that it comes down to like putting so much pressure on their pitching to be perfect that at the end of the year, it just feels like they're not going to be able to get over that hump. So they probably should be looking for a bat at the deadline. May I introduce you into Rafael Ortega? Feel free to send Corbin Burns back for me.
They already have him. Mr. Palicki says Brewers gave $200 million to a Walmart version of Rafael Ortega. LOL. But that signing is what is so dangerous about depending on free agency to build your team. That's what's driven so many teams. You know, there's a risk factor in building through tearing it down and grabbing prospects, because if you don't get the right prospects, or prospects get hurt, or prospects are prospects, not major league players, there's the danger in that. The other side of it is it's dangerous to just go throw money at the team like the Cubs used to do back in the day, sign guys, and the real danger is signing guys for what they have done,
right,
as opposed to what you're predicting they will do, which of course was Theo's theory of you only sign guys in a certain timeline. And, you know, that's been skewed too because Jason Hayward fit perfectly into that plan. They gave a lot of money to a guy who was heading into his prime. Rarely do you see a player going into his prime like that become available. They gave him the money for that reason. That's why he was their guy, and it didn't work.
Right.
Lester worked.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Lester was a different situation, and it worked out perfectly. The Brewers went for Christian Yelich, who, when he left Miami, my point with the Hayward deal early on was they could have had prime Christian Yelich. They picked the wrong guy. Christian Yelich was available from the Marlins, and I was salivating over the fact that the Cubs could get their hands on Yelich. Now, maybe that contract doesn't look nearly as bad as Hayward's, but it's still the risk factor of rewarding a guy that's maybe, you know, for what he's done. Now, I think Yelich was a similar deal, personally, to Hayward. He had done some, but he wasn't in his prime yet. Why is he not the player he was? Maybe it's Yu Darvish. I don't know. Maybe they were banging on trash cans, or maybe it's just baseball. You know, I don't know what the reason is.
Right.
But he is not the same player that he was. He is not an 8-WAR guy.
No.
So again, when you go to free agency now and you do put out those checks that everybody's talking about, sign this guy, be careful what you ask for, because the wrong signings can really hamstring an organization if you make bad decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, that's why a lot of people would lean more towards Correa, a little bit younger. At least you're probably, you know, setting yourself up for more good years than you would than for Turner or Bogarts, considering they're a few years older. But that again, that's the risk you take. And when the Cubs have the resources that they have, it shouldn't stop.
Oh, it shouldn't stop them from doing it. I'm just saying they have to make the right decision when they get there. They've got to pick the right guy out of the group.
Right.
And the other thing that's adjusted since the days of Hayward's deal and Yelich's deal and Theo, his theory when he first got to the Cubs, the other thing that we've seen change is what we talked about before the season, the Correa deal. Guys willing to bet on themselves big. They want one big contract with some options to get in and out of the deal. Mm-hmm. But it also allows the team not to be stuck for 6 years with that albatross of a contract. So there's risk on both sides, but as an organization, I'm a little more into $35 million for one season than I am for the 8-year contract for a guy, unless it's Soto, you know,
right.
Unless it's somebody you really think is the elite of the elite. And look at Albert Pujols, like, it's another example of that. But now you start to see these contracts, and maybe that will continue, of guys that will go shorter and shorter deals. Speaking of future of the Cubs, and we're talking about, we got a couple trade value. Ortega's one.
Ortega's one. Givens is one. Chris Martin got 4 outs today in his 1 inning. It's
Big
incredible.
outs.
Incredible to get 4 outs in 1 inning when you only need 3. If you know, you know. As in, he struck someone out and the ball got past Higgins and he ran to first. Still goes into the box score as a strikeout, I'm pretty sure, though. But then, Givens, Robertson gets the save. No, didn't struggle in the 9th inning today. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Those guys, I don't know what they're going to get the Cubs, but, again, the better they keep pitching and the more these teams that are in contention get more desperate, I'm just saying you might be able to land yourself a top 10 prospect in a system. Now, I don't know about in baseball, but in a system at least. We'll see.
Speaking of, we got the Futures game coming up, and that'll be something to watch. I thought I saw in the chat that somebody said PCA already going to the Futures. I thought that was going to be announced tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought it was being announced tomorrow. I'm not actually sure. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if PCA is going. They announced like 8 guys, but PCA wasn't on.
He'd be the most likely, I would think.
Yeah,
right?
At least for the Cubs, yeah. I mean, and he's having a great season, too. Like, it would make sense if PCA was one of those guys.
Trying to think who it was. Thought I saw it earlier in the show. I think it was Shane. I think it was Shane Newbanks.
Was it? Okay.
There.
PCA to play in the Futures game.
Shane, is that something
Newbanks.
you just read? Because we're thinking maybe it was tomorrow that was announced.
Yeah.
But again, if that happens, I mean that's.
It must have just been announced because Jax also said at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm all in on watching that.
Yeah.
And that is what I will give credit to Marquee for broadcasting some of the minor league games because it's become interesting. You know.
Yeah.
There's not a game on; it's something else to watch.
Friday, there's 3 on at the same time, and we're doing it like a red zone. Where
Red zone?
All going to be on the same screen.
And you're just going to bounce when guys you want to see are coming up.
Basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm looking forward to that.
Road to Wrigley.
Road to Wrigley.
Gotcha. Well, that'll be fun to check those out.
Yeah.
Especially since the Cubs are going to be playing at 9 p.m.
We'll be here. No, Friday we won't. We're doing it
Friday
remotely.
will be remote, but Thursday we'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow night. I got some ideas for tomorrow night, things that I might be working on. An ice cream social might be one of them.
When we get here and whenever, get halfway through. Yeah.
So, good game, obviously. Nice to beat the Brewers. Nice to win 4 straight series. And I like Kurt's question. Higgins, a legit piece of the future question mark. Let's get to that after, Cody, you tell us how your bets did.
All right. Well, I took no run first inning today. That was the easiest non-sweat of my life. I also had Ian Happ to get a hit. He did not get a hit. He came close. He almost took Burns deep, but he flew out. But anyway, made those bets on PointsBet. I tell everyone every show, it's my favorite app. I wake up, look over at my bedside, grab my phone, open PointsBet up every day because it's my favorite app. It's also the best way to support CHGO, Luke. And when you use code CHGO, when you sign up, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet.
Like the one you have on today.
Exactly. You can get this shirt. You can read Ryan's and Jared and Brendan's content.
That's right.
And gamble on the Cubs or against the Cubs for $50. Like it's I'm mind blown thinking about it, guys. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you out. You're home for live in-play betting. Just got even better. See an edge in the game. You are watching. Is your favorite team primed for a comeback? Anyone live bet the Cubs down 1-0 today? Because if you did, had to be some plus money there.
Cheddar.
Yeah. So
Cheddar Wednesday.
Don't just watch the game like I did because I didn't live bet the Cubs. Don't just watch the game. Bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Hey, want to start your day with a competitive edge? Strava CBD coffee is a game changer. It's helped thousands of people improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee infused with organic broad-spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp does not make you high or hungry, but it does offer real benefits that can help you feeling alert and focused without the jitters. Living your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD in your daily routine can even help you enjoy a more restful sleep so you wake up feeling your best. And the best part? Strava is all about quality. Small batch, fresh and shipped straight to your door. Strava also offers concentrated full-spectrum CBD tinctures for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage effect of benefits. CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase using the code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use the code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-subscription purchases only. One use per customer. And if you already love Strava like Cody, subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. You're in control. Save on your favorite coffees. Have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule.
I do love Strava, and I did start my day with Strava today. So PJ Higgins might have been taking some Strava.
Yes. So that was a good question in the chat as we were going to the reads was, is he a legit piece of the future? Matthew Gregory responding quickly. Higgins is 29. But I think the chat is right in a lot of places here. I agree with Tom. I agree with Katie. Like, he brings good vibes, all of those things. And I do think while he might not be your catcher of the future on the next great Cubs team, I think that's a stretch. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean he couldn't be your developing into your cheap veteran catcher or your second catcher or your guy until Miguel Amaya is ready, or
how about
stopgap guy?
Perhaps a guy who can play first base for you.
Could be a guy that can play first base too. He's a really athletic guy.
Yeah.
Who's very talented defensively at multiple positions. So that is a possibility. Right. I don't know if he's going to give you enough offensively, but again, he could be another one of those Ben Zobrist type guys at unusual positions. Right? Yeah. It does not hurt to have a catcher who can play first base and somewhere else as well.
Right.
And we do believe that a lot of teams are going to start going with catchers that are better defensively too. So, there's some things to think about moving forward. It's not, let's put it this way, it's not a bad thing that he's playing well.
Right. And, I said you could play first base. Well, I'm not saying he should be your starting first baseman for 500-plus at-bats. I'm not saying that.
Or that they should not re-sign Wilson Contreras. We still believe that, too.
I just think he's a very solid depth piece on a team. If he was a little bit younger, I might say, he should be – maybe I wouldn't be so upset about Contreras potentially getting traded, But he's 29.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Swarmer. Same story.
With Schwarber, yeah.
Samson, same story. Higgins, same story. Wisdom. You got four guys. Schwindel, you have 4 or 5 guys that all kind of fit in the same, hey, might be playing well, but I don't know if they're part of the next great team unless you spend a ton of money.
Right. The difference between Higgins and Schwarber and, maybe a few other guys is they're in the Cubs system. At least they were able to develop those guys a little bit to have them come up and be productive players. So that's good, especially because it's not like they were highly touted prospects. And I will say that I am very surprised to see the offense that we've seen from PJ Higgins this year. I mean, we talked about a few shows ago. Now he's well over 70 plate appearances. Last time we talked, I think he had 67 plate appearances and was had great numbers. He added to that today. To me, PJ Higgins, again, very solid. Can start a few days a week at catcher for you. You mentioned the defense, and he can also play first on any given day too. So it's good to have guys like that. But to me, again, he's not going to play every single day. He's a good bench guy.
Yeah, which is okay. Not everybody that comes up, and again, this goes back to even Morel. We're not putting a ceiling on him, but it's like all of those guys. Not everybody's going to be an all-star,
right?
But you still need to fill out the roster, and you need some guys to develop into stars. Obviously,
right.
Now you think that some of those will be coming from the farm system still, and then hopefully added through free agency. But it doesn't hurt to have guys like Higgins, Sampson,
right.
all these guys within your organization.
Can I tinfoil hat you for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so Higgins gets the game-winning hit today, right? Off Josh Hader. Now, he took that pitch to the opposite field out to right field, and my tinfoil hat theory here is that he did something that Cubs hitting coaches have probably tried preaching in the past, and some of the old core didn't want to listen to that.
That's right. Who have we seen do it this year? Horner. For sure. Suzuki. For sure.
We've already seen Morel do it a little bit.
Higgins, Morel. I once saw Madrigal do it.
Yeah.
Right? I can picture it in my head.
Right.
But we've just seen it a lot more this season.
Right.
At least it feels that way.
And I'm not sitting here arguing if it
was
good to keep or to not keep Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber. That's not what I'm arguing here. I'm saying that whenever the Cubs have a bad game and strike out a ton, remember a game like this where offense was hard to come by, but you got a big hit off one of the best closers in the game, and I feel like the hitting coach played a part in this one and that's not to take any credit away from Higgins, but again, he took that pitch exactly where he wanted to take. The way he swung at it, he took it exactly where he wanted, and I think that there's some credit there that goes to the hitting coach for that. So that's just me. I could be completely off, but again, we've seen so many times where, especially during the golden era, as we call it, where the Cubs would be in a big situation like that and they'd strike out or they pop out, something like that, because they were trying too hard. And Higgins, he just kind of did less, or he did more with less there in that at bat. So you like to see guys, take advantage in those moments. And good for him. That's probably like a career moment that he's never going to forget. He just got the game-winning hit off Josh Hader, of all guys. It's a great to see.
Yeah, and even like you talk about for Sampson, we were discussing, he's 30, he's going to be 31. He's done a nice job. Maybe he can hang around the big leagues a little bit longer. It doesn't hurt to make $500,000 a year playing. Like, good for him. I'm happy for him. Like, that's awesome. Some interesting stuff on the chat. Let's see who's on here. Jack says Stephen Cody, Higgins equals Miguel Montero. Although Miguel Montero had more of a big league career when he came to the Cubs than P.J. Higgins.
You think we could
way more accomplished?
You think we could beat Miguel Montero in a race?
Today I could. Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Nah, I still think I'd have a shot.
I like Dave's comment. Cubs 15-13 with Hayward on the IL and 19-35 on active roster. But leadership... Loyalty, right? Loyalty. Yeah.
Hashtag loyalty.
Clip that. Send that to the Cubs. But yeah, no. That's I hate to bring it up again, but I preached about this like a month ago. It was like, we want to see the young guys play. We want to see, like we knew at that point, we knew this team was, not going to be in the playoffs. Like, play the young guys, see what they can do. And what are they doing? We won 4 straight series and 5 out of the last 6 overall. Like, it's amazing what this team has done since they DFA'd Jonathan Villar and Jason Hayward went to the IL. Seriously, like, it's fun to watch. And like, that's what's frustrating to me about a lot of it, because you could have done this a lot earlier, honestly. I mean, it's not like anyone was blocking any of these guys. They just didn't want to give up on VR, and they didn't want to, they cared about loyalty to Jason Hayward. Like, who cares? Who cares? I'm never going to understand it. I don't, the Cubs could call me and explain it to me in 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm still not going to understand it, because in a season like this, it's like, you just want to see what you got going in the future. We already knew what we had in Jason Hayward, and Jonathan Villar on a 1-year deal. Like, what are we doing? Even Simmons has played better since over this stretch. I mean, he got his first extra base hit of the year today. Like, And he gives you solid defense. At least he gives you something. Like
I have 2 questions.
What's that?
One is in the chat, and that everybody's a couple people are asking. David's in there. Do you think Higgins is the starting catcher? Should be the starting catcher when Contreras is traded, assuming Gomes is still here? It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, Gomes, Hendricks has raved a lot about him, right? In terms of, just how he calls a game.
I think they share it. That's my answer.
Yeah,
I
think it's more of a share
it.
too. They're both good defensive catchers for sure.
Also,
Higgins,
Gomes might be traded. Nobody's saying they won't trade both guys.
True. I don't think anyone's going to want Gomes personally, but I mean, because he has struggled to hit.
Yes, but for the reason that Kyle Hendricks loves him.
Yeah, we're going to trade him like they did with Yu Darvish and Caratini.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying.
I don't think the Cubs can afford to do it because after Higgins and Gomes, like who is there?
Right.
They're not going to call up Moises Ballesteros or however you say his name, the guy who just entered the Cubs top 30, but he's like 18 years old. Like, and Miguel Maya ain't ready. Like,
no,
I think they're going to roll with Gomes and
there.
Higgins, and they'll probably sign another defensive-minded catcher in the offseason and whatever. But
so here's my other question for everybody, not just you. Cubs have won 9 of 14. They've played better with all these guys in there that we wanted to see in the lineup, right? Are you willing to, at this point, now that they've played a little bit better, they're not in last place, are you willing to cut Jed Hoyer a little bit of slack for his expectations that this team could have been competitive, which we've ripped him for?
Yeah.
If Miley and Smiley were healthy.
And Adbert.
And Stroman.
Yeah.
Like if the pitchers that they had, and Hendricks now, like if those pitchers were healthy and they would have played this roster more often than force feeding us a couple guys that we don't even have to mention, are we willing to at least see how he might have thought, well, it could be competitive? I'm leaning more that way, and I was that way before the season where I said, well, if a lot of things go right, they could be competitive.
Right.
World Series, no, but could they be interesting? Yes, and some of these guys are showing you that. Keegan, Steele, Horner, Morel, who we didn't know about,
right.
Ortega. Like there are guys that are showing you. Now, again, do I think they should get a free pass? No.
Definitely.
But are you willing to at least skew a little bit toward, well, they might have more on the roster than I give them credit for it, or not? Or are we still back on, you know what, every team goes through injuries. This is garbage. And they knew it was going to be garbage.
For me, injuries can never be an excuse, and even Jed Hoyer has said that. So I will start by saying that I don't think I was giving Jed Hoyer as much flack as a lot of fans were.
Agreed.
I will say that I did give him a lot of flack, but not nearly as much because a lot of people are like, fire him, blah, blah, blah. What has he done since he's been here? And it's like, well, have you not seen what he's done to replenish the farm system? And, there are some players that, despite how bad they were playing at certain points in the season, you did see some surprises. So I would say that what he's done so far hasn't been awful or bad. There's just a lot, I think the biggest thing for a lot of fans is just there's no transparency from the front office and ownership. And that's what leaves us all thinking they just want to take our money, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. To me, Jed Hoyer, it goes back to you just didn't do enough in the offseason. I still think that this team would have been at least around 500 if they made one or two more free agent signings. They didn't have to be major ones, but one or two more free agent signings to bolster the offense and to give depth into the starting rotation. Mm-hmm. And they just didn't do it. And we saw what happened. And especially after Adbert and Miley started the season on the shelf. That's what happens when you don't do enough. And they had the money to do it, and it is what it is. Now, also, Seiya being out 6 weeks, I think I can give Jed a little bit of a pass there too, because it's not like it's his fault that arguably your best offensive player outside of Contreras and Happ got hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I
your second, third, and fourth best pitcher, you could argue.
Yeah.
Are all hurt.
Right.
Going into the season.
Right. I'm not taking away all of the flack. There's still some there, and there's still a lot of season left. I think someone said in the comments, if they don't win 75 games, like, I don't take anything away or whatever. And that's kind of where I'm at, because I still think that this team is way better than what the record shows, and they've been playing like it.
I'm totally torn on it. Bears fan man is like, no soup for you. I'm giving them no slack.
Yeah,
I don't give them any credit. Tom is saying I do give them credit. I see both sides of it. I also see this current stretch, and again, it's a small sample size. It's been fun to watch, 9 of 14, 4 straight series. But don't forget, there was 10 straight losses back there too. And don't forget what happened last season. They were good up until they weren't. Right. And then they weren't. And they weren't good at all. They were bad, horrific after that stretch. So I don't want to give too much credit. I'm just saying it has – the last 2 wins have caused me to just pause for a second and think back, am I being fair? I don't know the answer to that yet. Yeah. I still skew towards they were counting on way too many maybes. Too many maybes to confidently say we can be competitive. And that's not anything against the guys that are playing well right now. It's just you can't go into a season with that many question marks and tell everybody you're going to be competitive.
Right.
Now, you might be, and they still might be, but
Jack,
somebody else said they're a fun team to watch. I agree.
Yeah. Because they play hard, and that, like, you can see that they're trying, And when even in the losses they've had recently, they've been losses that, they're losses that have made me angry. And in a way, that's dumb because this team is, 15 under 500 or whatever. And then it's also good because, I care. And when they're going through that 10-game losing streak, it got to a point where I stopped caring and that I was just self-loathing all the time. So I'd rather be mad and angry about this team than not. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's I'm also not every single fan. There's a lot of fans who probably at this point don't care if it's a win or loss. They just want to see certain guys perform, and if they play well, you get an idea of what the future looks like, and that's fine. Honestly, I should probably look at it that way, but my life is always better when the Cubs win that day. So that's just, again, that's me.
Matthew wants to see it happen against the Dodgers before he's able to say good things about Jed Hoyer and what's going on.
Well, yeah, when the Cubs played the Dodgers last time, it was bad.
The Yankees and Dodgers showed the Cubs what real baseball looks like.
Yeah. Now, the rosters were definitely a lot different when they played those two teams. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, the Cubs rotations set up a little bit better now as they go against the Dodgers. And Corey and Brendan's going to talk to you guys a little bit about that probably on their podcast.
It'll come out tomorrow. It'll come out tomorrow morning, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, yeah.
Had the pitch doctor breaking down. By the way, Kyle Hendricks, 15-day injured list. Obviously, trade value down.
Yeah.
If there was going to be. So maybe Cubs fans, for the first time ever, I'm not saying all of them. I know there's people that want him traded. Is it possible for the first time ever there are some Cubs fans who are okay with a little trip to the injured list? Yeah. Because it could strategically end up meaning the Cubs keep Kyle Hendricks.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Because why trade him if you're not getting back what you want to get back?
Right. You're hoping that you can at least get a top 30 or top 40 prospect in a team system for a guy like Kyle Hendricks.
There's no sense in trading him if you're getting back garbage.
Right.
If you're getting back
especially with one more year of control.
If you're getting back total long shots, it's not worth it.
Right.
If you're getting back some guys that are in AA that look pretty good, different story.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm assuming he'll be back right after the All-Star break. So he'll be able to get in 1 or 2 more starts, prove that he's healthy, and then we'll see what happens. But
he didn't sound worried about it, according to Ryan.
Yeah.
Who hopefully will be joining us
here in the next 15
Here in the next couple of minutes. Mm-hmm. Anderson Espinoza, brought up from AA. That's a guy you were saying last night.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the return for Jake Marisnick, And he's already been called up once. I can't remember who the Cubs played, but they called him up because so many arms were hurt earlier in the year, and he came out and I think he pitched 4 or 5 innings in relief, and only gave up 3 runs, something like that, in his major league debut. There's some value in that guy. He's a guy that I honestly would not be surprised if he's on the roster after the deadline. So looking forward to see what he does in his second stint with the Cubs this time. Coming up from Double-A. Again, came in the Jake Marisnick trade. We'll see how it pans out.
Tom says he was part of the combined no-hitter last week.
Yes.
But again, Espinosa's a guy at 24 at Double-A, and as you said, came over from Marisnick. That's an example for me, and this isn't evaluating Espinosa at all. I'm just saying, you're looking for more than that if you're trading Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah. You're hoping.
Yes.
You're hoping, honestly, for Kyle Hendricks, despite his inconsistencies, you're hoping that you can get maybe 3, and one of those pieces of the 3 are
solid,
a top 30 prospect, and then a few throw-ins or something. Who knows? My interpretation of Kyle Hendricks' value might not be the same as some people. Some people think that you're not going to get anything for him, so why trade him?
And I've heard some people that I totally trust say there's a market for Kyle Hendricks
because he has playoff experience. Mm-hmm. He's shown that he still has it. He's inconsistent, but he's shown he still has it. You put that guy in a certain ballpark, I don't know, San Diego, where he's pitched very well. He pitched very well for the Cubs in San Diego this year. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think the Padres need a starting pitcher right now, but who knows? A team that has a big ballpark can really benefit from a guy like Kyle Hendricks.
We're going to grab Ryan Herrera here in 1 second, but I see Paul, our Sox fan troller, has joined in to say Herb is your daddy, Cody. Just in time for the Sox, just in time for the Sox to be swept by the Twins. So you might want to head to that podcast. Paul.
I think they won. Cool.
The Sox won? Oh, congratulations.
But
I would like to see.
I didn't even hear any cheering. They're not even cheering out there.
Yeah. I like to think
they're resigned to the fact that Tony's going to screw it up.
Yeah. I like to think that Herb is more of my favorite uncle.
Yeah. Your fun uncle.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, Ryan. What'd you think out there? Who was the... Let's get right to it. Who you got? Let's not mess around. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's go right to the beginning here.
He's gonna make us suffer through this, right?
And clearly, I've got a W today.
Well, here's the thing. I picked someone I knew wasn't gonna win, so you didn't have to go through this whole. You're disqualified. You're in Milwaukee. You can't gamble up there. I was just like, you know what? Nico might have an off day today, so I'll just pick someone that's going to have an off day so that Luke can have his W. And
that was big of you. That was big of you then.
You're welcome.
I will take it. Ortega, star.
Yeah. Oh, for everyone who didn't know in the chat, Luke took Ortega, I took Ian Happ, and then Ryan took Horner.
It was a fun who you got because it was 1, 2, 3 in the order.
Yeah.
So for any time they would come up, it was if your guy doesn't get a hit, then the next guy can steal the opportunity with somebody on base. So that part of it was fun. The part of it that wasn't fun was having to wait 6 more guys for somebody to come up with some sort of interest in it.
Right.
For most of the game.
All right, so standings.
We were 0 for 9 going the first 3 times through the order.
Yeah.
Oh, the first inning was horrific.
Yeah, none of them got a hit off Burns. So
we had 2 outs and 4 pitches to start the game.
Yeah. Okay, so the standings now. I have 12. Ryan and Luke are tied at 9.
Well, here we're back in it.
Don't reel them back in.
A lot of season left in this one. We're only halfway through the season. There's a lot of games to go.
These numbers don't make any sense.
Hey, Cubs on pace to get 63.
Yeah, 63. The
Magic
race
number.
63, baby. I'd rather lose 99 than 100.
It was 66. It was 66 yesterday.
Yeah, I'm saying that they would now. They're ahead of pace for 63.
All right.
Oh yeah. Wait, what?
Let's keep it going.
We're right at the halfway point, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right at today's the halfway point of the season.
Yeah.
Well, no, yesterday.
Yesterday was. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were at 66. Yeah, they were on pace with
That
66
would
and 96.
a little bit
like
lower
that.
than what we all predicted preseason, but we'll get to that at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Still a little bit below what we talked about, but that's
Yeah.
okay. On the other hand, while I was impressed with Ortega, obviously my guy coming up with a big hit, Morel coming up with a big hit,
Yep.
if you had to go in the locker room and give out the championship belt to somebody, it's got to go to Sampson, right?
Yeah, I think so. Or Higgins.
Or Higgins. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
I think Sampson. I think Higgins obviously had the big hit. He that big hit, like he kind of felt like he was due after Shira robbed him and like literally ran into the wall and robbed him of what should have been a game tying double. So I felt like he was due for that. But Sampson, 5 2/3, didn't have exactly the swing and misstep that he had in the last 2 times out. But outside of Keston Hiura's home run that I had to tweet out the Keston Hiura game after that because I said I would if he hit a home run there. But
Ratio.
outside of that, I actually didn't get ratioed though. It was a good try, but I didn't think I got any interaction on that. But anyway, no, outside of that home run, Sampson he was good today. Just limited hard contact, just didn't really run into much trouble throughout the game, and for a while there was kind of going toe to toe with Corbin Burns, which reigning NL Cy Young. If you can do that for 5+ innings, you had a good day. So I think PJ is probably like a close second, but if you had to give a championship belt to someone in that locker room, like Adrian Sampson stepped up big time today and was obviously really key in getting this team a fourth straight series win. Like who would have thought? Not me.
No, me either.
The Paul Rudd meme. The Paul Rudd meme. Who would have thought? Not me.
9 of 14, unbelievable. I will say, as exciting as it was for the Cubs to get the big hits and some great plays, I will give credit. The Hura catch was pretty unbelievable. Face planting. That's the one in the natural where the guy dies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He just goes straight into the wall, brick wall. He's lucky it wasn't Wrigley because that was there haven't been too many recently that I can think of in baseball where a guy's going full sprint the other way. And I think he's sort of lucky that fence looked like it was kind of almost bent a little bit, right? Like the chain link kind of curved back to soften it a little bit. It was a nice catch.
Yeah, I hope his face hurts the rest of the day. But, whatever. I don't know what it is about Keston Hiura. He just annoys me. But yeah, great catch. Credit where credit is due. I'm not the worst fan in the world.
Who was good sound from after the game, Ryan? Who was the hot talk?
PJ, and I actually tweeted out the video of PJ, but PJ kind of talked about, taking advantage of the opportunities that he's given. He knows that he's, not the starting catcher. Wilson's in there. Then a lot of times Jan is in there. So PJ doesn't get all the playing time in the world. And kind of the funny thing is we kind of compare it to David Ross. David Ross, that 2016 season is the third catcher, really. He's catching John Lester mainly, maybe getting in there every once in a while, but it was really, Contreras and Montero taking it over, and that's kind of the spot that PJ's in now. But just, he's taking advantage of those things, and he that's what he talks about. It's like, he learned a lot of things from David Ross. Even when they first met, the first time they met spring training a little while back, but obviously now that he's been up since, end of May, so getting to interact with David Ross more often, and just going through that and again, just taking advantage of opportunities. You see him come up big there in the 9th inning. That's just, P.J. Higgins has been really, surprisingly good. Like, I don't know if we expect him to be this good kind of coming up. 148 WRC plus, 2 behind Contreras, obviously a much smaller sample size, but he's been really good. He's been really good at the plate, like really surprisingly good. Strikeout rate is below 20 right now. Hitting just below 300. Like he's putting up good numbers, and I kind of see it on. I think the chat was talking about like PJ Higgins kind of pushing Jan out for number one, catcher. If Wilson gets traded, I don't know that that's true, but I know that he's earning himself more opportunities to kind of show what he's done. Because again, you look at Chris Morel, you look at all these guys that came up and have done good things and are earning that spot. Like I think PJ Higgins is himself earning a lot more a lot more chances and a lot more trust from Rossi to kind of put the bat in his hand and see what he could do.
I do look forward to the days when the Cubs are actually good and competitive, and we can all ride up with Ryan, get a group of Stuckies together, and we all go out there. We stop. We got to go to Cops Custard, get a little custard before the game. Ooh. Then maybe we tailgate some Johnsonville Brats or our Greenridge Farms.
Oh, yeah.
Have a little tailgate up there.
We can't tailgate at Wrigley, honestly. I mean, we did the tailgate on the south side, but, I'm not against, doing a road trip to Milwaukee later this season and, tailgating at Cubs Brewers. Even after the deadline, I wouldn't be against it. Just saying. Jake, if you're listening.
Beautiful September fall weather. Actually, yeah. I think the fall's become our nicest season.
Yeah, I know. I love the fall.
You don't get this, you don't go from cold spring to muggy middle of the summer. So, yeah, I'm not totally against that.
Yeah. No.
Ryan, what are you bringing back for us? Is there anything you can,
you bring us some
spotted cow? Is that what you want?
Oh, I got Moon Man at my apartment. I keep forgetting to bring it.
Moon Man.
So if you want to go make a stop at your local Woodman's and bring back some, another flavor.
Swing by Woodman's.
Two Women's is pretty good.
So what I'm hearing is you're bringing the Moon Man and I'm bringing the spotted cows for the office. Is what I'm hearing.
Sure. Yes.
All right.
I'm thinking. Cool. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I am thinking about bringing an ice cream social tomorrow.
Perhaps.
Not even going to Cone, just potentially bringing in for everybody a little ice cream social. Because we're going to be here late. It's going to be late. We got the Dodgers.
Yeah. I'm going to be sitting in the office, and Rafael Ortega is going to smash a double out at Dodger Stadium, and I'm going to be tweeting Rafael Ortega trade value. Everyone's going to be sleeping. They'll wake up to it and be like, oh, Rafael Ortega had a great night.
Niren says September weeknight game in the bleachers is like $10.
Especially for what the roster will be in September, probably. CHGO ice cream podcast from Katie. She tweets or she says that in the chat all the time.
Yeah,
every time we mention it.
Who's not a fan of ice cream?
Yeah, I also love that
they even have the lactose intolerant. For people that are lactose intolerant, there's stuff out there.
Yeah, well, that's not me though.
Gelato. Okay. Me neither. I'm going for it.
I also love how everyone keeps calling Luke Steve in the chat. It hasn't died yet.
No, Niren's in.
Yeah, and apparently Steve took Rivas.
Well, Steve did take Rivas, and he was considering taking Sampson early on, but he gave me a call.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mark Leiter Jr. in the opener against the Dodgers?
Well, his last appearance against, what was it, the Red Sox, right? On Saturday.
Solid coming in that game out of no preparation.
Yeah, and he's actually been very good as a middle relief, innings eater guy. They've used him more in instances where, the Cubs have been down a hefty amount, and, he just came in and ate some innings. But he did, he came in against a really good Red Sox lineup and pitched well. I don't really know what to expect. I'm just hoping I can't say that I'm expecting what Sampson gave today, but I'm hoping for 5 innings of 3 runs or less. That's for someone like him, that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if he'll be able to do that, but that is what I'm hoping for.
Is that your PointsBet pick of the week, or do you have something else maybe from the series or somewhere else that would be your PointsBet pick of the week if we were trying to pull something out of a hat and you're like, all right,
I bet something on Seiya, if anything, after the series he had this week.
We said Sampson you couldn't ask anymore. What more could you ask for from Seiya in his first 3 games back?
Then in today, even though he didn't start, worked a walk in a big moment.
And Ryan, that was no big deal, obviously, that he didn't. That was part of the plan of kind of easing him back in, I guess, or is that what they said before the game?
Yeah, it was kind of just a pre-planned off day. He just was out for a month and change. Rossi just said it's a day off. Trying to bring him back, bring him back slow, not even slowly along, just keep his legs under him. Give him the day off. You saw that he was available off the bench and hit right there at the end of the game. I saw someone, talk about why Seiya didn't go to right field and, whatever it is. Someone said something about Simmons would be able to have caught that ball, but I'm like, Seiya, the whole plan was supposed to keep him to give him the day off and not put him out in the field. Keep him off his legs. You give him the one plate appearance, but that's, I think, as far as David Ross wanted to go with him today. Just let him get the day. I fully expect him to be back in right field and back in the lineup tomorrow against the Dodgers. So, just a day, making sure he comes back and stays healthy and stays fresh, kind of right here before the All-Star break.
Ryan Jack R, our faithful listener, he's always in the chat. He asks, he says, Steve and Cody, can you ask Ryan if he heard anything on why Williams didn't pitch for the Brewers today?
Must be on his fantasy team.
Yeah, must be on his fantasy team. I don't care why Williams didn't pitch today, but do you know why, Ryan?
For Jack R.
I haven't seen or heard anything. I did kind of I saw Boxberger come in, and I thought maybe that was just because it was a tie game at that point. Was it a tie game at that point?
No, it was 0. It was 1-0 whenever Boxberger came in.
Okay, so yeah, that would have been. That's why I was like, this probably would have been a spot for Devin Williams to come in. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many pitches he threw on. Was that Friday? So that maybe he needed an extra day. I don't know.
You mean sure. Monday?
I haven't heard.
Yeah.
What day is it today? Is it not Sunday?
Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
Oh my God, what's going on?
And you're in Wisconsin. You're in Wisconsin,
You're
Ryan.
in Wisconsin, yeah. I'm sorry that you're there, by the way.
Man, the days are just flying away. I just assume it's a day game at the end of a series. It's probably a Sunday right now. Yeah, here we go. So Adam McKelvey over at MLB.com said Devin Williams was unavailable today because of his recent workload, according to Craig Counsell.
All right, there it is.
So there it is.
Workload management.
Any other Cubs injury updates that we should know about before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so was it Madrigal and let me see, I tweeted it out earlier, but I think it was Madrigal and Norris are both set to begin rehab assignments tomorrow, I want to say it was. Going out rehab, AAA Iowa tomorrow. Frank Schwindel took some grounders today. He's going to head out for his rehab on Friday. Contreras is kind of day-to-day getting treatment. And as we know, Kyle Hendricks, 15-day IL today, right shoulder strain. I think Ross kind of said, with the, kind of getting right in here to the last stretch before the All-Star break. Maybe just let Kyle really rest that shoulder that he already kind of had, 2 weeks off because of it last month. Give him the 15 days, let him rest it, let him work his way back. And that, I think, it may be I'm trying to remember the days of the All-Star break, but it may be like the first game or second game back from that break is when Kyle would be able to come back would be eligible to come off the IL. So it kind of looks like it was just kind of one of those, get him through, get the All-Star break healthy, or let him recover that point. And then, the last third of the month, he's good to go, and hopefully that could last him the rest of the season.
All right, man. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30 pregame show.
Woo! Can't wait, Stuck. You get to
followed by the ice cream social.
You get to hang out with me for like a full evening. How excited are you?
Ryan's coming in. We're all going to be here.
Oh man,
it's late night. We're all bringing our sleeping bags and just going to sleep on the floor over here. And hopefully the AC will be working a little bit better, because right now I got the swamp back thing going over here. Oh man, like a glass cube. Let me tell you.
Can I have one stat, or tell you one stat before we get out of here? And I wish we would have seen this last night, because this was tweeted last night.
Okay.
I believe, at least. Today's the 6th. But this comes from Sarah Langs. She works for MLB.com.
Yes.
But she tweeted, players in the 90th percentile or higher in both barrel rate and sprint speed entering today: Mike Trout, Julio Rodriguez, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Byron Buxton, Christopher Morel.
Whoa.
So, dude's here to stay. Dude's he's to me, I know a lot of people still aren't bought in, but I think he's going to be a stud, man. I don't know if that means all-star, but I think he's going to be very good on a good team. So, have some hope. There is hope, guys.
There's a light. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Is there hope for the Blackhawks right now? I don't know, because I'm not a hockey guy, but I will say that I think there's some hope here with the Cubs.
Saying there's a chance. Cubs win 2-1. Yeah?
I was just going to say, we were talking about that stat earlier, the one that Sarah Lang, her tweet. We were talking about that earlier, and there's one particular writer who does not like the advanced stats and who hated that stat specifically.
Gordon.
I won't say the name, but I'm sure you could figure out who it is. But it's just kind of funny to poke this particular writer with those kind of things.
Was it a press box wag?
It may have been.
Somewhere up there, press box wag. Cubs win 2-1. They've won 9 of 14. Their 4th straight series win. Here come the Dodgers. Pre-game 8:30. We'll be here for the post-game show tomorrow. And don't forget that Corey and Brendan will have a podcast ready for you first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah, recapping this entire series.
Recapping the whole series.
They'll have more analytics on all the stuff. I just came on here and told you
Specifically
how
the
bad
pitchers.
I just came on here and told you how overrated the Brewers are.
I'm expecting a Samson breakdown.
Yeah.
That's what I'm predicting.
Exactly.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. We will see you back here, Cubs and Dodgers, on Thursday night.